am Gia Helena, and this is your bold sessions, your doses of courage and confidence. And yeah, let's just speed this up because I always say 29 minutes, give or take 3. If this is your first time, I want to welcome you to the show. And if you are returning warrior, I want to give you the biggest virtual high five, everybody. And thank you for being with me. Honestly, this has been such a fascinating journey for me. And thank you for being part of this boldness community of people who really believe in accelerating their lives and bringing them to the next level by choosing courage over fear. And for me, choosing courage over fear was something I discovered 20 something years ago. I might be giving away my age already, but lots of years ago, and which transformed my life entirely. Choosing, and it's a decision, right? As we're going to see today. And so I am very happy that I can pass along this to you as your coach and as your motivator. So let's go straight into our topic of today, which is a fear and how does that actually manifest for us. So before we start, just give me there on the chat. When I say the word fear, what's the first thing that pops into your mind? Just tap it, just put it there for me. When you think about fear, what is your fear? What just comes? Is it like fear of spiders? Is it fear of what comes up to you? And okay, so Kirsten says anxiety. Isa says paralyzed. Really good. What else pops into your mind when you guys think about fear? Challenge. Yes. What else pops into your mind when we're thinking about fear? What else comes to you when you are thinking about fear? Because it's so relative, right? Sherry says it just feels wrong. It's like a dissonance, right? When we know that how we should be feeling, and we know that the opposite of that might be telling us some stuff. What else pops into your mind when you're thinking about fear? Isa says excitement and also curiosity. I love that because fear is a teacher, and here's what we want to be able to understand during this very quick session. For many of us, it might be excitement. Carla says, hey, it's insecurity. Kirsten says, it's a feeling of a wall in front of me, right? And what I want just for us to look at is, Danny says it's a fear of failure. Yes, we are in the house, guys, because we will be talking about perfectionism and how does actually fear translate into so many different elements, right? So I want for us to literally start by understanding that fear is natural. And as I always repeat to you, and I've been teaching you, you know that confidence is different than boldness. And as opposed to not being afraid, which is confidence, boldness means you keep on going even when you are afraid. So for us, is in the understanding that this is absolutely natural. Most of the common questions that I get asked is, hey Elena, can I overcome fear? The answer is yes. Then the next question is, can I be fearless? Overall, no, because fear is a self-defense mechanism that we need to learn how. If we think about it, fear is such a good, let's say, friend or alert, if you want to say it, for so many things, and it operates very different throughout every single one of us. So now let's go a little bit deeper into. I want to share with you some of the most common fears when it comes to job, right? Because as we already know, I am very interested in us being able to shine and to support you guys in feeling at your very best, your most confident, your most powerful. And whether that is at work by showing and serving other people with your gifts and your craft and everything that you do, or whether that is maybe bold, because any act of courage is bold, whether that is you being at work or asking for that opportunity or asking for that raise. For some of you will be pitching that idea idea, or finally, going ahead and writing that book, or making that art, or calling that person, or apologizing, or whatever it is that means for you. So guys, fear, some of the most common fears that we're going to break down in this session are those fears that are related to our craft, those things that you're really, really good at, and specifically more evident and more visual when we are in a working environment with other people. So fear of losing your job, or being fired. For many of us, not for each one. By the way, if you don't have your journal ready, or some pen and paper, napkin, the back of a receipt, as I normally do, get something to write down there, because I need you writing these things. So write the first one down: fear of losing your job. In a spectrum, I love spectrums. Just grade it. If 10 is like the highest one, like the highest fear, and 0 means no need, I got this covered, which one would be your thing? If I say fear of losing your job or being fired, where do you find this fear in your very individual spectrum? Is this a very, very high fear? Give me some numbers there. What number would this fear be for you? And the second one would be fear of confrontation. Write down there, confrontation. 10 being the highest fear for you, and 0 being I got this covered, I'm bold, or even more, I'm confident, I do not have any resistance to this. So these two are also, we're going to see a couple of them, but the ones that are the most recurring, particularly at work, are fear of losing your job, fear of confrontation. The third one that I want to talk about is fear of inadequacy, or not being good enough. How does this fear looks like for you? So what does it feel for you in terms of fear at the workplace? Because of course, when we are looking at fear at the workplace particularly, it's important that we are able to start tapping into these elements, because we do know that when we are living in fear, we cannot maximize and perhaps demonstrate our very best assets. Let me stand a little bit away from the whole fear thing, and I'm going to go directly into personal branding and self-marketing at work. Wherever it is that you are taking your notes, I want you to make a circle, okay? A big circle. And I want you to separate that circle, and you're going to make like a pie, and you're going to separate it into 3 things. And right now I'm going to give you the 3 things that are the most important elements for personal branding. And you might actually be surprised. I have already covered this in another Bold session, but I want to cover it again because yet it's super important. So when we're looking at personal branding, meaning that ability of other people to see in us our gifts, and not only be able to see it, but to talk about it and to be able to use it on the behalf of serving others, serving the organization, whether you're an entrepreneur, a mompreneur, or maybe you are employed in a big company or a small family owned. It doesn't matter. When we're talking about personal brand, this is what we're looking at. Waxing Queen says confrontation and fear. We're going to go back particularly to confrontation, and I'm glad that you're asking yourselves these questions, because when it comes to fear, we're kind of normally going on a default element, because we are not dealing with them. We're just allowing fear to rule on them. So if we go back to this circle, I want you to write down there pie, P-I-E. Pie in each of the circles. So one part of this pie would be a P, one would be an I, and the other one would be an A. And these would be your success elements, right? When it comes to you being able to show as your very best self and people being able to see that. The P stands for performance. So I want you to write down there. Performance, of course, will always be a very important aspect for your job, will be a very important aspect for you to be able to have a job. Let's just start there. Is your craft, your performance is that thing that gets you the job. But we're going to see in a minute that might not be the thing that is going to get you the promotion. Might not be that thing that is going to get you the other elements that are important for success, right? Because performance is just one part of it. So that would be one part. The next part is the I. I is the image. Okay? And here's where I'm going to tell you, I want you to tell me which of those 2 you think has more power, performance or image? Or I'm going to even give you the third one, which is, what do you think it is? We have performance, we have image. What do you think the E stands for? Type it there for me. Try to guess. I'll think about something nice to give you if you manage to guess. What does the E stand for when we're looking at personal brand and self-marketing at work, or of our own brand, or just like ourselves, or promoting something? What does the E stand for? Hi, Aruna. Don't worry, my darling. You're not late. Type it there for me. What can it be? If we already talked about personal branding, P as performance, meaning that thing that you do. We look at I being the image. Image is everything that people can see about you. Is you delivering that presentation, is the way that you hold yourself, is perhaps the way that you negotiate on certain skills, is everything that I can see about you. Radiana, you got it, girl. Exposure, experience. It's also very important. Oh, I like that also as an E. Yes, and Sarah, welcome. Hey, Julia and Summer, very good. Welcome, guys. So you're absolutely right. And Danish says expertise, very important. And expertise will be part of the performance, but the E that I'm talking about is exposure. Exposure is that thing that people do when they start talking about you. So let's think about it for a minute. If we look at performance being that craft that you do and you do it so well, but what is the purpose of it if your image is low and nobody knows about it, right? So you cannot serve others with it. Maybe you have a wonderful skill and you want to start monetizing that. But if you don't feel very comfortable telling the world how you can serve them with that skill, well, you're not going to make much money with that, right? And a lot of people are definitely not going to benefit from you having this skill. And then that would be the image and the exposure. If we talk about in an environment of work, think about performance, the P, being that thing that got you the job. Performance is the thing that you do that got you the job. Image is that thing that people see you doing while you are at your job. But exposure, my dear warriors, exposure is that thing where if somebody else talk about you when you're not in the house. Is that situation that happens when maybe they want to have somebody for this new position, and then somebody says, have you thought about Maria? And then that person is like, have you worked with Maria? And the other person would say, well, no, not really, but I heard she's really good. And that, my dear warriors, is exposure. So believe it or not, I want you to now put some percentages there, because when it comes to personal brand and self-marketing, your performance would only count for 10%. 10%. Your image will count to, give me, how much you think? How much you think is going to be good? Give me there a percentage. How much you think? Is it, what percentage? It's, in the meantime, Nisardaika says, image must be high then. Image must be high then people, as you know. Well, yeah, image is clearly higher than performance. How much do you think performance? How much would you, if you were the owner of this company and you want to get that person, how much would image matter for you? Because believe it or not, image only counts to 20%. Sorry, Aruna. Priya, you're absolutely right. It's 10% only for your performance. Isn't that a little bit sad? Because, performance is the key. It is the key. But yet again, what I want to make you think, guys, is unfortunately, performance is your entry ticket. Performance is that thing that you are doing very, very good that is getting you the job or is getting you that contract. But if people do not feel the benefit of this, let's turn it around. Have you ever met somebody that they have no skill, but they are really good talkers and and butt kissers, and they manage to get all these promotions, and you're like, oh my God, but this person is like useless. They do not know. Anybody in the house that knows somebody like this? Very likely not in the company where you're working lately, but in another companies, I am sure there are lots of people like this, right? So that comes to say that that also the way of image has a much bigger way than that one of performance. So if you're that kind of person that is also maybe a little bit afraid to showing others what you are working on, or to show your success, or to show how good you are, right? Please think about it again, my dear warriors, because it can easily be that you have this idea that, my work should speak for itself. Yes, but no. Because lately everybody is busy being busy. So I don't know anybody having the time to say, you know what, I have a lot of time right now. Let me go and see what Aruna is doing, So it doesn't work like that. Today, when we are living in this technology times where we have so many distractions, it's very, very important that we feel the importance of bringing this up. Performance is an important key. It is a foundation. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that performance is not important. I am just saying that it's not as important for success management in the future. You can be really good, but if nobody knows about it, you will not give me the chance to benefit from your skill, from your craft, from your value, from what you're really good at, right? From your passion doing things. Does this make sense? So in that level, guys, then the topic of fear is an important element, because it does make us ask ourselves a lot of questions about why are we not moving forward and strong enough and being bold, right? To promote our successes, to inform people what we're currently working on, to celebrate, right? Some of the stuff that we are doing. Why don't we just celebrate more often? What are those things? So this is why it's so important in the bigger picture, the topic of fear, because I want you to identify after this very quick session today, what might be what you are sacrificing, right? When you are choosing fear over boldness in that sense, and also what would be the collateral elements, and how can you maybe start tackling those fears? The fourth one is fear of being disliked. This has to do with social anxiety. I love Yulia says imposter syndrome. Yes, yeah, absolutely. A lot of this inadequacy also comes from this imposter syndrome. We spoke about imposter syndrome the last time, right? On the last session. And again, we have to talk more about it, because as you will see, everything comes together at the end. Sherry says comparison to others and hiding afterwards. Oh my God. This is so true. Isa says fear of being disliked is very big for me too. It is big for me, guys. Like we are all afraid of being judged. And now, as we move forward into the rest of the fears, you're gonna see how hard it is, and how brave you are, even showing up to work, even showing up on social media, expressing yourself, because we're giving the chance to other people to judge us. So this is why this element of fear needs to be tackled. And it's okay to have it, but you need to be able to understand why it is there. Otherwise, avoidance will be your number one resource, right? What else? We have fear of being stuck. Where do you find yourself in that spectrum? Fear of being stuck at work. Is it big for you? Is it not? I think particularly big for those overachievers out there, right? That we feel like we have to go and prove and tell the world, and this endless hamster wheel of the corporate world. And I will give a virtual hug and an out loud recognition to the person who can tell me statistically which one is the biggest fear at work that most people have. Not everybody, but most people have. Especially, also for men, but especially for women, is fear of speaking up, raising our voices, whether that is to give ourselves our opinion, our expertise, and especially confrontation, men and women alike. So the fear of speaking up is a huge, huge thing. Now, what can we do, right? What can we do if we were to go and analyze all of these elements? So I want you to go back to your journal, and here are some tips that we can do. When it comes to fear of losing your job, of being fired, you know who fears the most this situation? Do you know who fears the most being fired? These are the people who don't know their talent. These are the people who know themselves so little that they so massively rely on external validation. People who know their talent, people who know that they're good, that they have invested, that they have been working on themselves, people that are able to self-recognize, that are mindful, generous, compassionate, that practice inner balance, self-love, and all these elements. Statistically, don't take it from me, this is pure statistic, has shown that people who are higher in the self-love and self-esteem and self-boldness element have the lowest index of being afraid of losing their jobs. So guys, if this was one of your biggest ones, hey, good opportunity to, start spending some time with ourselves. Fear of confrontation. Good news here is we are all wired for conflict, and most of us wired for avoiding. I mean, I'm from Colombia, as you know, so we're actually wired for conflict naturally, but not everybody is born with the skill of managing themselves naturally in conflict situations. Good news here, guys, is this is a skill. It's a skill that you can learn. So it is important that you just identify it. Later on, I'm going to give you the last 3 steps of how to start. But when it comes to managing in confrontation, right? The fact that you do not know how to manage yourself in conflict effectively will diminish your exposure, for sure your image, but of course later on your own self-trust in your performance. So very, very important element for us to look at there. Fear of inadequacy and failure. The most important thing, guys, here is clarify expectations and resist perfectionism. Very, very important. We need to, for those perfectionists out there, do you guys remember what we said the last time about perfectionism? Perfectionism is fear of what? Give it to me. What is a perfectionist afraid of that makes them need to control everything? Yes, yes, yes. Carla, Kirsten, yes, Mirella, yes, Isa, yes. Not being enough, being of failure, of judgment, of being wrong, of being exposed, right? And that has to do with all our perfectionistic tendency, which, by the way, we also said that perfectionism was not the most sexy part of a personal brand. Next, fear of being disliked. I have a very strong thinking about this topic. My invitation as your coach, choose your judges wisely. Who are going to be those few people who you're going to give the power to literally judge you? And one thing I will tell you, become super selective. Being bold and warriors means we are selective. We know our worth. We are out there in the world teaching others how to treat us at the same time that we are on this journey of being better at our crafts, much better at everything that we're trying to do, better inside and out, right? So guys, please take criticism only from those people you would actually go for advice. If you say that, I would never go for advice for that person. Why are you taking criticism from them? Your job is not to be liked by everybody. Your job is to make sure that you're serving others with the best of your ability, showing up at your fullest, your most authentic, your most happy, make yourself happy by doing what comes the best and the easiest for you. So I know that my opinion is a little bit out there, but that's my opinion. And I think you deserve so much and nothing less than that. Next, fear of being stuck. I will always invite you to think 2 levels up. If you feel that you're stuck, very likely you're not working on your mission. You're not very clear of your purpose. Where are your dreams taking you? What is the big picture? If you're feeling stuck, guys, or you're bored, boredom is a very good sign that you are stuck. Guys, immediately we need to tackle that already now. Fear of speaking up. Being able to speak up is one of the highest areas where we can serve others with your voice. You're serving yourself. You're making a stand. Sometimes we do not know what it is that we want to say. But the most important thing is, guys, is not only you not knowing what you have to say, is that when you don't have a stand, you fall for everything and people use you and people feel that you're not good enough or you're not committed or that for you is the same, that you are passive or that you are just accommodating. Again, it's about being able to practice some skills until they become authentic. Practice is the mother of all skill, and the best practice you can have is getting to know yourself so much better. So please speak up. How can we start dealing with fear? Because fear will poison your exposure. Fear will poison your image, and it will poison your self-identity, and it will make you doubt all the time. Am I really good enough? Did I say that correct? No. So let's understand very, very fast how to deal with fear. What are the 3 things that we can do that are related to fear? Number 1, step 1, spend time with your fear, guys. Break it down into smaller chunks, like analyze it. Say, okay, fear, I see you. What are you trying to tell me? Right? And let's just start working there. Fear is not your enemy. It's there to protect you. But if we're lazy or we are into an avoidance mode, we're always going to be thinking, oh my God, I'm afraid or I'm anxious. This is something bad. It's nothing bad. It's there to teach us something, but you need to slow down enough to later speed up. So you slow down and say, okay, what are you trying to tell me now? Why are we so afraid? So that you can have a level of self-compassion, self-understanding, and self-acknowledgement. This is like personal wisdom. These are the ways in which when people ask me, how can I spend time with myself? That's how. Ask yourself, just like allow yourself to catch your breath while you are into all these elements. So allow yourself to go there, right? The second step, plan a way to soothe your fear, right? Like for example, when psychologists work with patients to overcome the fear, say, of spiders, they do so by taking gradual small steps. Like first they show them a picture of a spider. Maybe then they just put the person with the spider clothes so that they can start like petting the spider with a feather. The next step will be they can touch the spider with a glove until they can manage to have the spider. Find a plan, guys. Reach out. Either, go to Living with Boldness and find yourself a coach or join the Facebook group. There's so many good conversations in which you can start understanding it and stop thinking that there's something wrong with you because you're afraid. Mirella says, accept the fear, forgive yourself for getting stuck, and choose again. Oh, I love that. Fear is going to give us so many opportunities. It's going to give it 1,100 chances. That is what fear is doing. And the third part, guys, is take action and execute. Please remember, if you stay still, you're not being bold. You are avoiding. Boldness is we keep on going. Do you know the rest? Even when we are afraid. This is what we do. That's why we're warriors. There's nothing sexy about it. It's messy and it's hard and it's scary. Yes. Oh, Mirella says, and talk to Elena. Yes, talk to Gia Helena if you need some hard loving, and I will love you so much and squeeze the fear away. But we need to spend that time together, guys. Please remember, the other side of fear is freedom. And fear is just there to tell us something. It's to tell me, just see me, tell me everything is going to be okay. And then for you to move on. Mirella says, the note about boldness goes on my wall. Yes, thank you. I'm glad that I can do those things for you guys. I really want to see you win. I want to see you setting yourself free every single day. This is why boldness is a daily practice. Julia says, fear paralyzes you into inaction. So we need to get ourselves out of it. Change the cycle. This is so powerful there. Yeah, and I'm glad that we're able to have these conversations. And sometimes you're going to get it right. Sometimes you're not going to get it right. Sherry says, the other side of fear is freedom. Yes, that should be your new mantra indeed. And you're going to choose what freedom means for you today. Maybe tomorrow means something else. Maybe tomorrow means you're going to send that email. Maybe the other day, freedom might mean you're going to set the boundary. You're going to ask for what you need. Isa says, it's so cool that we see we are not alone. Oh, honey, I'm so glad that we are not alone. I so agree with this African proverb that says that if you want to go fast, go alone. And if you want to go far, go together. And this is my invitation. I love you. I believe in you. I want to see you win so much. And please remember, fear, the opposite of fear is freedom. Choose freedom every day. Stay strong.